Well, hello there. Welcome to the Obi Thorn Alliance. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Luke.
And in today's video, we are very excited to review the full Season 1 review of Peacemaker on HBO in America and in us Aussies binge. Like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, helps out the channel quite a lot. And we'll both summarize the show because we both enjoyed it very much. So you want me to start with the summarize, Luke, and then we'll take it in turn?
Yeah, for sure.
So Season 1 of Peacemaker is basically a continuation of the movie Suicide Squad. So, after he survives his bullet shot, basically we see him in hospital in this funny scene that he talks to this janitor, and then he thinks, the government's after him because he's a wanted man and he's a killer for peace. And then basically he wants to get into this taxi. And how did you like that scene, Luke?
Yeah, it was a good showing that letting us know that the intention of this show was to be funny. And I do think it continues that on through the series. As much as there is a seriousness to the villains they take on, it ultimately, I think it's more of a comedy than an action movie or an action show. Yes, there is action, but I think comedy is its main element that it brings to the show.
Yeah. So basically, he's working for a different team, and the main person is A.R.G.U.S. And we get two members from the Suicide Squads, the Bee and Harley Quinn, and a new member that we get introduced from this show that wasn't in the Suicide Squad movie, and then a new member called Vigilante. From this new cast of characters, Luke, which one was your favourite, or you weren't expecting that you would like as much?
Probably Vigilante was the one I liked the most, but out of those that had already been in there, I quite liked The Economist, and then...
The Beard, yeah.
Yeah, and then Hardcourt, yes, but I think they're trying to call it Hardcore, but they're trying to be funny about it. So Hardcourt, she was quite good, who was also in the Suicide Squad, and then we've got the additive of A.R.G.U.S, and then which is the daughter of the kind of the boss of the Suicide Squad, and then Mur, who we find a bit more about later. So out of the new members, I would go with Vigilante. What about yourself?
Same, yeah.
I think he almost made the show in so many ways. I guess he stole the scene whenever he was in it, but John Cena is always he's going to be the main character, so it's hard to say that he wasn't the best.
And Gilly?
Yeah. So I just think that Vigilante stole the scene when he was in it, though. Continuing on with the summary.
And basically, episode 1 to 3 is working out what this show is about. What is their mission, kind of, is it going after other, murderers, what Peacemaker is? And that's basically what we're trying to work out. And then at the end of episode 1, we're like, whoa, this is pretty serious. And then at the end of episode 3, we work it out. And did you like that they took their time to not show you at the start of episode 1? It's basically, episode 3 is kind of, 1 to 3 is kind of the pilot.
Yeah, I agree. I think it was good they allowed you to build that up and get to understand the characters and the direction of the show, and kind of make you think that it's going to be, he's a hired killer, he's taking out people as his job, but not giving away that the people that he's taking out, there's a bit more to it. So I think it did a good job of building the suspense and hiding what was going on. And then ultimately when we find out exactly what's going on, I think it was a really good choice of villain, I guess, if we want to call it that, in this show.
Did you like how they chose to first introduce his father into the show in the first epic moment that we got to see Eagle in?
Yeah, I think that was a good start. Eagle was a good character or a good additive to the show, but didn't really have too much involvement. But still, had some memorable moments and funny moments with Eagle. His dad was someone
Racist.
I think they overdid it with some parts of him, but I guess they really wanted to explain why Peacemaker is the way he is. So he was needed in that sense. I guess we're not fully explained some of his powers or some of the cool things he can create. It doesn't really add up that his dad can be this kind of evil, racist redneck, but can somehow create really amazing technology that no one else is able to create. So it doesn't quite, there's a bit of a missing link there, but maybe that's something that's explained more in the comics. I'm not sure.
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, continue on.
So, did you like what they chose to do with the elements of the team, not just going against a generic supervillain? And were you glad that they chose who they chose?
I think it was a cool gang they put together. You know, we've got Peacemaker, who's kind of the expert and the main one they need. Vigilante, I think, is maybe even better than him, than Peacemaker at killing and doing his job, and he's also a bit more heartless. Hardcore, you know, she's well trained. A.R.G.U.S is supposedly was a prodigy, but then chose to go to a different business in the end, but returned to this line of work as a favour to her mum, and also needing employment. And the Economist, you know, his skills don't really come that into play in this series, but he does play a pivotal role though at times. So, but not really exactly what you would think he would be doing based upon his so-called computer skills. But he added an element of I know chances to be comedical. I don't think he himself was funny, but he was a point of laughter where they were kind of like picking on him at times, which made some funny scenes.
And it actually comes back full circle, what we'll get back to in the spoil section, but shall we talk about why people might really love this show? And I think what this show really does well is that it does really well done storytelling that James Gunn really does, but it does it with funniness. Like, it does that really well compared to the first Suicide Squad movie. Like, this show does a really good job of, you feel invested, but you just have fun with it.
Yeah, I think fun would be the best way to describe this show. They were clearly going for that. I think they've tried to break this mold that DC has been seen to be dark and serious, and Marvel tends to be
the king.
Yeah, it tends to be the funny, likable kind of storylines. But maybe DC's heading for something even bigger and better, because they've now added this funniness, but they've also still got something serious coming out. Like, I can't imagine the Batman is going to be a funny movie. But it's going to be quite serious. But they're finding a way to have kind of both sides of the spectrum with their direction of movies and shows, and I think it's fine. I think I enjoy the funny references they make about Peacemaker. Any superhero you mention, he's like, oh yeah, he does this, he does that, or like he's always got something crude and bad to say about them, and then eventually in the last episode they then link it together, and it's quite funny. So I like that they do that. Like, it's definitely went for the comedical route with this show.
I guess main negative with the show is that the humor tries to stick with the landing, but it does it a little bit too much. That's the main nitpick, is that it tries to nail the joke and then it goes over the top, and I can see why some people might not like that, but besides that, I think it's a great show.
Yeah, I agree. It does go over the top at times, but John Cena can pull it off. I don't think there's too many other people that could pull that off, or sometimes I think it seems funny and being over the top works because of how big of a human he is. Like, he's just a big muscular guy, but it just works for him. Like, I know there's other comedians that might be able to do it and it be funnier, but I think it's funny because it's coming from him, because he just doesn't seem like the kind of guy to do it, if that makes sense. But yeah, I think it's a good choice. But you're right, it is slightly over the top.
Ready for verdict?
Yeah, let's go ahead.
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first. From the beginning, like, I always thought this show had a lot of promise and it had a really good start, but after the mid-season review, I thought it really needed to, I don't know, stick the landing and end well for it to get a high score. And I actually think it really did do that. I actually think it went above and beyond with the way it links the different villains, how it links in pre-existing characters in the DC universe, the way it allows for the possibility to be continuing on with the series.
Well, it's being confirmed as a season 2.
Yeah, it doesn't. The season doesn't end open ending, but you assume that there's the possibility to continue with more. It remains funny the whole way through. It kind of just ticks so many boxes that for me it's a. I don't know about a 5. I like, it's close, but it's really hard to give a show that's doesn't really take itself serious a 5. So for that, I'm thinking a 4.5.
Yeah, same as Loki.
Yeah, I think it shows a 4.5 because it's hard to say something's perfect, but there's not much about this show to dislike, if anything. Maybe the fact it doesn't appeal to everyone, because it is, nothing ever will, but
Yeah.
I think if you're not into superhero movies or shows, this one's not going to change your mind. But having a pre-existing like for the genre, I think you're going to love it though. So for that, it's a 4.5 for me.
Yeah, I'm going to go same, 4.5 out of 5 on Wilson Wow. For me, it cracks all the boxes. It has humour, it has action, it has serious moments. It just nails when it needs to be serious and comedic. The only nitpick is that it's not for everyone, and people might get, I guess, annoyed with the jokes at points. And to me, Loki and Peacemaker are very compatible shows, with how one show does the storytelling really great, but Peacemaker is a funny show. So to me, I think Peacemaker is better than any Marvel show except for Loki at the moment. I can't say anything more about it. I think if you have a binge account, I definitely think it's worth watching, and I'm actually really happy that it's getting a season 2, but they don't do it in a way that's like, oh, there's a cliffhanger. They do it in a proper way that concludes season 1's story, and you're wanting to see what they do with season 2. I think it's actually better doing that instead of like, something survives and, it leaves season 1 story not concluded. So I think that's better storytelling.
Yeah, definitely. Because if they didn't do a season 2, you'd still be happy with it. And if they do a season 2, there's no expectations of season 2. It's like, well, what are they going to do next? There's no loose ends or anything left over from season 1 that we're aware of. It seems like season 2 would have a whole new villain and like problem to solve, which would be interesting to watch.
So we both love the show, highly recommend it. It's both in our most anticipated show, and I think at the moment it's easy to say until Moon Knight or something else comes out, it's the best streaming show to watch at the moment. But until something else comes out, so I guess we'll talk into spoilers. If you haven't seen the show yet, definitely watch the show and come back. Do you want to start off with from that the team leader was a butterfly all that time?
Yeah, so that was one kind of like hidden part of the show.
Yeah.
Which when we kind of found out, it built up like it was going to be a really big deal, but then it wasn't.
Yeah.
So like one episode finished on a cliffhanger where...
Yeah, episode 5 led into episode 6.
Where Adebayo realised that, he's a butterfly because she saw it through wearing...
X-ray vision.
Yeah, Peacemaker's X-ray helmet. and then she got chased by him, only to think, oh, well, how's the next episode going to start? She's going to be dead, or she's going to have to kill him. Only literally to be somewhat small. He's like, I'm on your side. Yes, I'm a butterfly, but I want to help you.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of then revealed what the butterflies are trying to achieve and why he's trying to stop them. And do you like that? Do you think the whole storyline of the butterflies, do you think they're a worthy villain or antagonist in this show?
I actually don't see them as the villains. I disagree with them, but I actually like their storyline. I think it was well worth telling. Personally, I see Chris's or Peacemaker's White Dragon more the villain. He's just a dirty...
I agree, he is the villain of the show, but he's not the villain of the world. You know, like he doesn't want to take down the world. I don't even know what he tries to do as the White Dragon. Like, I know he's racist, but whether he actually does much with that, his main thing is he wants to kill his son. Where like,
and he got his other son killed.
Yeah, where obviously the butterflies, they want to take over the world. Well, I guess that's what makes the storyline good. They don't necessarily want to take over the world.
They want to help
us.
They
supposedly want to save our world because their planet faced similar consequences to us with global warming and overpopulation. And because of that, they have chosen Earth because Earth is an environment that they can continue to live on. But in order to do that, they wanted to take over influential people in the world and then use their influence to kind of save their planet so that they could then come and live on there with us. So are they good or are they bad from that? It's hard to tell, but they had to kill people for the greater good, which is where, you know, Peacemaker kind of drew his moral compass and decided that they were bad because of that.
Did you like his choice at the end? How he's like, oh, we saw the flashback, him praying because of what happened to his brother, and then he's like, F it, and shoots. Everyone uses autobio and kills the cow. That was a cool scene.
Yeah, I think I like his choice to take out the butterflies and the cow in order to save Earth but also destroy Earth, you know? Like, I think it is inevitable in this show and in real life that, you know, the planet is getting destroyed and these guys were possibly going to save us. But his choice was, well, that's up to us.
Yeah.
We should be given the option to save the world opposed to having like our bug overlords come and destroy, like make the decision for us. So, which is like a kind of a cheap jab at, you know, like politicians in the current world and us as humans, what we should be doing to try and fix the world, that no one's going to come do it for us. So in that's why I think it's such a good show, because the message in it was relevant to real life problems, which I think is really cool when a show can do that. Is one of the reasons why I really like Aquaman, because they did the same thing with pollution and global warming. From that, you mentioned the scene with the cow. Do you think that's a good enough way to kind of kill off the butterflies? The fact that they required a food source that our planet didn't have, so basically you kill their food source, you kill them.
Oh, I guess that's fine.
Do we understand how it got there, the cow? They talked about teleporting it to somewhere else in the world, but do we believe that they could have teleported the cow to Earth, considering we saw them come in little ships? Like, why did they have to come in ships if teleportation was an option?
Don't know.
It's kind of one little loose end or thing I don't understand with what they did. But I guess it's kind of funny. What do you think about, as well, we saw in one scene they showed butterflies all over the world. They showed like people that are supposedly infected with butterflies.
Yeah, that never got concluded.
But they only killed a small selection of them that were in their town. Does that mean that now without the cow, do all those butterflies eventually die? So we're going to have thousands of people around the world drop dead as a consequence? Because the human hosts are dead. The butterflies are only the thing keeping that body alive. So once they die, then other people die?
Yeah.
And I guess would people have noticed that, because butterflies obviously have certain traits, they're kind of emotionless and kind of like walk like robots, like would have people not have noticed this?
I don't know. Maybe they'll give us answers in season 2.
That's what I think. Maybe season 2 will follow on with the after effects of now the butterflies being, a threat. Like, well, no longer being a threat, but how that impacted our Earth. Kind of like how Marvel focused on the blip and what happened with people that went missing and the flag smashers and how they are, like, their stance on what the world should do. Is it going to continue with that?
Maybe do it in a better way, because the flag smashers thing wasn't really handled that well.
Yeah, and do people find out what Peacemaker did, and does he become a villain now? Because the people hate him because, like, oh, well, they were going to save our planet. But, because of what you've done now, we're screwed. Like, I don't know if it's going to follow that route or whether we get exposed to some other cool villain.
What do you think you would prefer?
I'd like to see something new, but I think it has too many unanswered questions that maybe they need to continue on a little bit. Because it's hard to just... If they don't follow on with that, we're going to be like, well, that doesn't make sense. There had to be an aftermath to what they did. A question I have for you, do you think... So his first encounter with a butterfly, Peacemaker, was when he fought that girl in the house, their apartment, and then in the car park. He struggled really badly with that. But then in later scenes, every other time he takes on a butterfly, he beats them quite easily. Does that make sense to you? Why is that possible? Why did he later on find it quite easy to kill butterflies, but her was a difficulty?
I guess because it was that leader butterfly.
Well, I don't know. I don't think she was a leader, the one he fought. The first one he killed. But you could say, well, when he took on them the next time, he was prepared and he had weapons.
I guess so.
But he still killed them in other ways, like with shields and different things, and like with his bare hands. So I don't see why she was so strong and hard to take on.
Yeah.
But I guess that kind of built the fear that, oh wow, they're going to be really difficult to take on.
Maybe it's to show us that even a muscle man can be, no threat. That's...
What do you think will happen now that the butterfly that, he kept and became friends with, how we see at the end it's still alive and he gave it the last bit of, like, honey or milk or the type of thing that it needs to survive? Do you think that, what happens with that? Do you think that butterfly just eventually dies, or it becomes a problem in the second season, or I don't know, it inhibits a human being and Peacemaker finds a way to keep it alive and it becomes a hero?
Guess there's plenty of things that they can do with either the food product is gone, so it just dies, or guess it depends where the writing wants to go.
Where would you like to see it go?
Well, he did say that, but he did kill the other butterflies, so I don't know what makes more sense.
Yeah, why he shows mercy to this particular one?
Yeah.
And, he has this connection to it because he kept it in a jar.
Yeah.
I also don't understand how, when they inhibit a human being, the human being gets super strength and can, run fast and jump, and they're kind of like an animal, in a sense. But if you put it in a jar, it itself can't break out of a jar. It doesn't have strength, but it can give superhuman strength to another animal or another human. It's a bit odd to me. Lots of unanswered questions.
Did you really like the action scene when Vigilante, Hardcore, and Chris as Peacemaker killed all the butterflies and were shooting them? Yeah,
that was a great scene, and that was a good opportunity to make action scenes funny, which are always cool, like the way they kill people and the different things they do. That was a really good scene. I guess I never really bought that the Economist was going to find a way to get away with dropping the helmet in. It always seemed a bit suspect, and he was quite lucky that they helped him. and then only to inevitably break his leg, which is pretty. So it was a funny scene that happened from him like falling over.
Did you like the whole emotional beard, making fun of his beard? How, you know, it was a joke at the start and then we got this emotional beard conversation?
Yeah, I think that's, again, a way to make a serious moment funny. I just think this show really nailed that, of finding ways of having serious messages but in a funny way. Yeah, it was one of the best scenes of the series, I think.
And did you find it interesting how episode 7 was the shortest, but a lot of stuff happens in that one?
Yeah, well, I guess they try to cut out any unnecessary dialogue or storylines that they wanted to save to the last episode. They try to make that just purely action, which was one of the best episodes.
Out of all the characters, which character did you find didn't get as much direction or development? Would you say the White Dragon or Peacemaker's dad?
Yeah, I think Peacemaker's dad, the White Dragon, maybe I would have liked a bit more context and understanding behind him, but I guess it's as simple as
Make a prequel?
Yeah, like, well, you could do that, or you can just assume that he was a racist and that's why he does these things, but I'd like to know where he gets his knowledge to be able to create these gadgets. Do we assume he's a genius scientist yet a redneck racist that, I don't know, makes his sons get in fist fights? Like, it's a possibility he can be both, but it seems unlikely.
Did you like that Peacemaker just shot him in the head?
Yeah, I like that it wasn't it was simple, and he didn't like get all emotional and go, oh, I want to, like, Dad, I'm going to change you, I'm going to look up. He's just like, nah, dead. Like, I thought that was cool. I think that's what it needed.
Did you like how the communist or beard just took the gun and shot all the people, the white
Yeah, that was quite a good scene. It made it very easy. Yeah, I feel like that was... I was expecting more of an epic fight between Peacemaker and his dad, but ultimately
basically
that wasn't
family did it for him.
But I guess that wasn't the main storyline. You know, like it was there, but the main thing had to be in taking out the butterflies.
Is there anything that you would like to, any of the characters that you would like to see in season 2?
Oh, I'd like to see them all return. We'll probably get a return of Judo Master, but I couldn't care less if we did. But I feel like there's been a lot of setup as to why Judo Master features in this. So, not having read the comic books, I don't know if Judo Master is an ongoing villain of Peacemakers or why they chose Judo Master over an infinite selection of other heroes. But yeah, I guess I'd like to see all return, really.
And because I believe they're making a show about a side character, other character in Suicide Squad, would you like still for them to do that, or you would prefer them to just focus on Peacemaker?
No, I'm happy for them to do both, and I hope the other character, I would like to see it be the Shark. Maybe followed by the polka dot guy that shoots the polka dots, but yeah, I don't care at all about the rat catcher. So, even a side mission of what was Idris Elba's character called?
Bloodsport.
Yeah, it's probably going to be him, but I don't really care too much about his character. I feel like
he's a good actor though.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of just a copy of using
Deadshot.
Yeah, really. Like couldn't tell the difference between the two and why they changed.
So in the summary section, you were mentioning a appearance at the end, because when we get a mention of support and they said the Justice League, and it's like, oh, we're going to see them, and then we see them at the end, but they only showed the Flash and Aquaman, and then you see Wonder Woman, but she's just standing there, and then they cover Superman because it's like they haven't cast.
Yeah, well, they mentioned in it I think that episode saying, "Oh, we need help. We need like the Justice League," or like, "Why is the Justice League not fighting this? Why is it us?"
Yeah.
And then we finally see them, and when you could see them kind of blacked out, I thought, "Oh, well, they're not going to say anything. You're not going to see them." But then he walks past, and we get to see Aquaman and Flash, their actual actors, talk. So I'm glad they did that, because it would have been disappointing to show them as a cameo but not really show them. I'm guessing Gal Gadot and Henry Cavill, there was a reason why they weren't in it, whether it was like a budget thing or they didn't think it was necessary or they weren't allowed to. I'm not fully sure, but I'm glad we got to see the other two interact. I guess they also do have movies coming out, so it's a good mention. But it was kind of funny how he said, "Oh, like I'm sick of that, sick of that rumor about you sleeping with fish," and then Flash and Barry's like, "Oh, yeah, but it's not a rumor; it's true." Like they still added a comedy element between those two, even though their movies, I think, are going to be fairly serious. Yeah. So that was a kind of another point why this show got a higher rating, because it managed to add cameos in a really positive and funny way.
Were you disappointed that we didn't see the Batman? Ben Affleck's Batman?
Because well, which one do we put? Like, I know he's the one that's part of the Justice League, but no, I don't care. I would have been happy if instead of the whole Justice League showing up, it was just them two. That would have been good enough for me.
Yeah.
Just someone. So, yeah, I thought it was good.
Well, that was the reigning joke for our Peacemaker. It's like, oh, Aquaman doing this, oh, Batman, oh, you know.
Yeah, and they even make reference to Arrow in one of the episodes. I think it might be the last one. He says, like, "Oh, yeah, I don't like Arrow." Like, he goes down to, like, the local, like, wherever and, like, wears, like bottomless chaps and, like, gets up to, like, weird stuff. So he's, like, constantly... like making these references about how bad the other superheroes are. So it was funny that we finally got to see some come in, and then they also reference it again to their face.
So final thoughts, how do you see Peacemaker as a character? Do you see him as a hero like he says he is, or do you still see him as like an anti-hero?
No, I think he's a hero. You know, the people he killed, they say that he supposedly only took out minorities and he was somewhat racist, but ultimately if they were doing bad things and his role is to take out bad people, then
he's just killed one good person.
Yeah, then he's doing his job. But in saying that, he was taking out the Colonel to, you know, protect the US, which is like his main goal, you know. So like what he did a bad thing, but possibly for the right reasons. But I suppose the secret that he was trying to cover up was a bad secret that people deserve to know. So yeah, that's the one grey area. But I still see him as a hero.
And are you very much happy that season 2 has been confirmed?
Yeah, I'm excited. I don't know what it's going to be about, but I'm looking forward to it.
And do you agree with me that, like I said, in my opinion, I think Loki and Peacemaker kind of... I know that opposites, but for me, Marvel's best show at the moment is Loki, and Binge or HBO or DC's best show is Peacemaker, and to me, they're both 4.5s.
Yeah, they're the standouts. So, yeah, that is the benchmark for shows moving forward. So, new things coming out like Moon Knight, we'll wait to see if that can live up to the expectations and the benchmark that's been set so far.
Well, thank you for helping, Luke. Hope you enjoyed the review. Hope you enjoy season 2 when it eventually comes out. Like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Let the force be with you. Bye-bye.